In late summer of 1988, we were awakened one night by the sound of rushing wind and rattling windows. The hanging plants out on the porch were swinging wildly and smashing into the columns, shattering their ceramic pots. Hurricane Gilbert made landfall in Mexico and plowed inland from the Gulf of Mexico all the way to Cadereyta and Monterrey. This massive storm caused severe flooding of the Santa Catarina River, which runs right through the middle of Cadereyta and Monterrey from the Huasteca Canyon. The flood washed away cars and buses and destroyed hundreds of homes and completely filled many others with mud all the way up to the ceiling. Hundreds of people lost their lives due to this storm, and thousands were left homeless. The devastation was extensive, and it took years to rebuild the roads and bridges that were completely destroyed by the raging waters. The bridge we usually crossed to get from the ranch into town was under at least 12 feet of rushing water, leaving us cut off until the water level eventually went down. We had no electricity for days after the storm passed. In town, the metal bridge that went over the river to the road up toward the refinery was a pile of twisted, crumpled beams and girders that lay scattered in the riverbed for years as a silent testimony to the force of the water and the devastation it caused. Months after the storm, Monterrey was still digging out from all the mud and debris with heavy machinery. They found the wreckage of cars, vans, and buses buried under tons of mud with the remains of many victims still inside. After the hurricane and flooding wiped out many homes along the banks of the river in Cadereyta, I wandered around to survey the devastation. I took my camera and snapped pictures of scenes that were right out of a disaster movie. People were not permitted to return and rebuild on their property along the riverbed. Instead, they were given small plots of undeveloped government land on the outskirts of the city. First, these displaced families built small shacks and sheds out of scraps of wood, cardboard, and tar paper. It was a real shanty town. We saw this as an opportunity and bought a piece of property adjacent to this new community of displaced refugees. We visited door to door and got to know the new residents. We started a soccer club for little local kids, which was very popular. We made the kids some cool, colorful uniforms, built some goals, and had regular practice and even games on our own field. We also put up our own sturdy shack with some wooden benches and a big sign announcing the place as a Christian mission. We invited the local residents to come to worship services and Bible studies, and they came. Soon we had quite a few families gathering for worship at our little mission shack. Today the community has paved streets and sidewalks, and the shacks have been replaced with nice homes, stores, shops, and restaurants. The little mission is now a thriving church in that community, with hundreds of congregants who gather faithfully every Sunday to worship the Lord as a testimony of His faithfulness in the aftermath of the storm and all the years since. Thank you so much for listening to this true story from Memoirs of Mexico. If you enjoyed this story, or if it was a blessing to you, please feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. That would be a blessing to me. I upload a new true story every day. If you like to read, you can also order Memoirs of Mexico in paperback or ebook on Amazon.com. There's a link in the description. Thanks again for listening.